Hi everybody, I'm Stephanie Johnson. I am a licensed professional counselor associate as well as a Texas licensed professional school counselor. I'm here to talk more about transitioning from school counselor to licensed professional counselor. If you're here, that means you probably saw my first two videos. The first one was more of an introduction as far as what programs to choose for your transition. And then the second video was about registering for the NCE, the National Counselor Exam. This video is going to be about applying for licensure. In the state of Texas, you have to take the NCE first before you can even apply for licensure. So if that's you and you're interested, even if you don't live in the state of Texas, I think a lot of this information will be valuable. So stay tuned, keep watching. Okay guys, we are in the final stretch. This is going to be all about applying for licensure. But let me first say, in the state of Texas, we have to take the National Counselor exam before we can apply for licensure, before we can start earning our 3,000 field hours. I know. Some people might say, wow, that's really backwards. Don't you think you should probably get some field experience and then you take your exam? You know, I live in the great state of Texas, and I can't say whether this process is backwards or not because I haven't experienced it any other way. All I know is this is what we do here, and that's what I'm doing. That's what we're talking about today. All right, so I have my cheat sheet here again because I want to make sure I'm giving you the correct information, and there'll be links in the description box, so please check that out. So for the state of Texas, you are going to go to the Texas Behavioral Health Executive Council website. When you go there, you guys, there is an exhaustive checklist for all the things you need. Yes, it's all there for you, literally. So this isn't going to be a very long video. As a matter of fact, I probably could have combined it with the other video, but here we are. So it tells you specifically before accessing the online licensing system, that's where you're going to go to apply for your license. You're going to need to have several documents and pieces of documentation available for submission. And it's just better to just have it all there instead of trying to piece it together here and there. So one of the first things you're going to need is your practicum documentation form. Okay. If you finished your master's so many years, decades ago, this may be a little challenging. I only finished my master's about 2 years ago, and I found this a bit challenging just because, I'm sorry, I finished my master's more than 2 years ago. I think I finished my master's 3 years ago. Okay, I digressed. So I found it challenging, you guys, just because I didn't know that I was going to come back and try to get my LPCA. I didn't. So I did not keep track of all my practicum documentation. I didn't. I did have a folder where I kept some of it, so I did luck out because I kept up with a portion of it, but there was a strong, let's say I maybe had 75 to 80% of my documentation, and then the rest I had to scour heaven and earth for. And on top of that, you have to get a signature from the department head with the school that you completed your program with saying, hey, she completed all of her practicum and internship during her master's. This one, I would say start with this one first because it may take the most time to get together. One of the next things that you're going to need your juris prudence examination completion certificate. This is not like a, don't worry, you don't need to study for it. I'll just say that. But you do need to complete this exam prior to submitting your application for license. When you do complete it, it will give you a certificate saying that it's done. That one's pretty easy peasy. Then you will have your supervisory agreement form. You have to have a supervisor locked down and ready to go before you can complete this application process. Yes, You can't still be looking for one. You have to already have one. Then there's some more information about if you're a military service member, veteran, or a spouse of a veteran. All right, so some other things you're going to need. You're going to need your official transcripts as well as your fingerprint taken. That does cost a little bit of money. You're going to need your NPDB. There go those acronyms again. Your National Practitioner Data Bank Self-Query Report. Okay, funny story. I did this. I think it only cost $7. And I got my report back in the mail. And I'm like, yay, I got my report back in the mail. Let me open it up and see what it says. Then I went back to the website, the Texas Behavioral Health Executive Council website, and it says that you cannot open this. You should not open this. Please do not open this because you have to mail in an unopened self-query form. Reading is fundamental, you guys. I did have to go back and do it all over again and wait for it to come all over again. And then when it came in the mail, I misplaced it. I sat it down somewhere and could not find it for the life of me. I was prepared to do this process a third time, one more time. But thankfully, I found it and submitted it, and all was well. Your NCE scores. So I kind of fumbled the ball on this a little bit, or so I thought, because I thought that I needed to like physically send my score report somewhere. When you're done taking the exam, you do immediately get a printout saying whether or not you passed, and it kind of breaks down, you know, your the questions and how many you got correct. It doesn't tell you, like, doesn't give you the questions, but it just gives you the numbers. And I was thinking I needed to send that somewhere. You do not have to send that paper anywhere. It will be sent where it needs to go. Once you have all those things in place, again, that was your practicum documentation form, your jurisprudence examination completion certificate, your signed supervisory agreement form, signed all pages, as well as your NCE scores, your NPDP self-query report, fingerprints, and official transcripts. Now you can go back to the online licensing system and submit for your license. All right, funny story. I did this. I did all of this. I was on it, dotted my I's, crossed my T's. It was about 2 months in, and I still had not heard from anyone. Started to get a little antsy, started to get a little worried, because you can't start your field hours until you are licensed. Again, this is for your LPC-A. The A stands for associate, right? You're getting your associate license. Can't even start your hours. Supervisor, she's locked and loaded. Let me know as soon as it goes through. Let's get started. Well, come to find out, they had tried emailing me and somehow they sent it to the wrong email address. I checked all my documentation, all my paperwork, and I swear to all goodness, I gave them the correct email address. I'm so sure that I did. They said I didn't. So the email is like lost somewhere in the ether. And the only reason why I found this out, because they actually called me. After not hearing from me for like a whole month, they decided to call me, and I'm like, hi, yeah, glad to hear from you. Am I getting my license anytime soon? What's going on? And they tell me, yeah, so on your supervisory agreement form, it wasn't signed, or rather they were missing the signed sheet. I know my supervisor signed it. When I scanned the information and I submitted it without the second form that needed to be signed and submitted. It was a very tough time for me because I was ready to get started. You know, I couldn't sit there and just think about what woulda, coulda, shoulda happened. Instead, I just went ahead and resubmitted it. But then it took another month before I could get approved. Long story short, don't be like me, be better than me. That's why I'm doing these videos. I want to see you win. I want to see you get through this process as seamlessly as possible. And finally, once you've submitted and you've gotten your approval, instead of getting a card in the mail, because once upon a time in the state of Texas, you used to get a card as well as a certificate. Instead, they only send you the certificate, and on the bottom is your license number. Oh my gosh. I've never been so happy to see some, I don't even know how many digits it is. I think it's maybe like a 5-digit number. Man, when you see that little number at the bottom, it's just going to open your mind. It's going to open your world. You are now officially an LPCA and you can start your 3,000 field hours. Yay! Spirit fingers. So let's kind of recap that again. Let me try to give you the Reader's Digest version. That is, get all your documentation together. Once documentation is completed, go ahead and apply for licensure online. You get your license in the mail. You get with your supervisor and you guys go ahead and hatch out a plan for what these next 3,000 hours are going to look like. Yeah, it's not over. We've still got another 1.5 years to go before we complete our journey. But this is just the first step of many to come. I have enjoyed making these videos for you guys. I am encouraged to continue on. So look for more videos talking about that transition from school counselor to LPCA and then to LPC. Again, if you are a school counselor currently and this has been helpful for you, please like these videos, please subscribe. I got more content on the way. If you have any suggestions on other videos that I could do for you all regarding school counseling to LPCA, let me know in the comment section. I will do my research, do my due diligence, and present that information to you all. That brings us to the conclusion. In the meantime, thank you all for watching. Sorry for being so long-winded at the end there. I'll hope to see you at the next video. Bye. Got it that time.